It's Monday. It's your girl Candy K. Lynn.
And your boy Shout Time Shout.
And it's time to
Pull up.
every Monday here on Facebook Live. What else are we on? YouTube. We come to you
You like
talking
Twitter too.
Twitter too.
And Instagram.
And Instagram. But we talk sports, news, and
Hip hop.
I feel like my
Huh?
face is real close.
Huh?
Okay. I felt like my face was really, really close to the camera. So, Mr. Shaw, it's Monday. We're back. Oh, my glasses is gleaming. But anyway, enough about me and my silliness. We are back with another episode. We are going to get into it because we realize we're already down to 29 minutes. We are talking sports, NFL, football, AFC, NFC. The championships are set, and it looks a little bit different. Looks a little different, Mr. Shaw.
Huh?
We've got, well, Kansas City doesn't make it look a little different in the AFC championship aspect. We've seen them there for the last 4 years?
Three.
4 years, I think.
Not
4
four.
or
They
5.
lost to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Before they got there, they had to lose to Tom Brady, so they had to learn.
Yeah. So I think it's 4 times that they've been in the AFC championship in the last, I think it's like 4 out of 5 times in the last 5 years. Somewhere in there. You numbers people, hop on, Google it for me, tell me about it. But Patrick Mahomes is back. We talked about it at the beginning of the season. We don't do early predictions. People were saying, oh, we didn't say that. People were saying, where's Kansas City? What is Kansas City going to do? People were counting Kansas City out early in the season. The season was just getting started. Patty Mahomes says, no, sir. I'm going to find my homeboys. And that's how they wrapped it up the other day. He's going to 10-87. 10. You can't even see it, my camera. 10-87. You put your money on it. And he did. He
too.
13 seconds to get beat in 13 seconds for and Josh Allen in Buffalo had a hell of a performance. That's not to take anything from them.
Mm-mm.
But when you get beat in 13 seconds and a quarterback can command the offense up the field to get you where you need to be for the win, that's just greatness.
It's different.
That's just greatness.
I think that's a testament to why you pay him what you pay him, while other players aren't. Because you gave him, and again, he has 2 targets, not 2. He has good offensive talent around him. He has great play calling around him. He has a coaching staff that believes in him, and he believes in himself. He believes in his team. He believes in his teammates, and I truly believe that because again, you not supposed to be able to win the game with less than 2 minutes left. Now Patrick Mahomes just
Josh Allen only had a minute and 50 seconds. So Josh, and that's what I'm saying. Like, for those of us who watch the game, you can't forget. Like, even though they lost, you've got to give, because I'm not a believer of Josh Allen, but I got to give him credit for getting in with no fear, doing what a quarterback is supposed to do. He commanded because he had less than 2 minutes. He did everything. He and his offense did everything that they were supposed to do to put his team back in contention to get to the AFC championship.
agreed.
Patty just was better. He was just better.
Great offense, better defense. It was great offense, even greater offense. Right? It's just the one thing, and again, every time the Chiefs have a tab, they run a division.
Right.
It's the craziest, and that's why I say I couldn't be a sport because I'm not finna come here and talk to y'all about they're struggling. You lost 2 games in a row. Are you really struggling, or did you have 2 games where either you misplayed or a team was better than you? There are days, there are nights, there are times where some teams are just better than the other team. It happens. I'm not outside my mind thinking it. It happens. Like, people got to be realistic. Sometimes, somebody might just be better than you that day.
And that's the entire point of all of that. Some days those other teams are just better than you. It happens. So we know that to go from when we're talking that young Josh Allen matchup, the young Josh Allen versus Mahomes matchup, we get another young matchup when we start to look at what it can be for the future when we see Patrick Mahomes versus Joe Burrow. What can that look like? What are we going to be expecting?
Can Cincinnati's defense slow down Patrick Mahomes? That's where we at. Can Cincinnati's defense slow down Patrick Mahomes? Can they? If you can't slow down Patrick Mahomes and it turns into a shootout, nothing against Joe Burrow. I love him and Jamar Chase together. I don't think I don't think there's many people that's beating him in the shootout. Just how I feel. Patrick Mahomes is a different ball player. He can score in 13 seconds. His teammates believe in him. Whatever he calls, they gonna run. When Patrick Mahomes decides he wants to run, he's even more dangerous. So, um,
So you say it's about slowing down Mahomes.
for sure. But if your question is this a potential rivalry for years to come? We shall
Yeah.
see. Because there are other good young quarterbacks in the AFC, and if you put talent and pieces around those other young quarterbacks, who is to say Mac Jones won't be able to, or whatever happens with Deshaun Watson, unless they don't let that man play football again. Like, you know, can Lamar Jackson grow? But um, Justin Herbert. There are some good young quarterbacks in the NFL. So I don't know what the story will be. Right. I don't know who's gonna be who's rival at this point. Like the Peyton and Tom. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
I just think it's interesting to finally see the tide shift, right? It's interesting not to have to see Tom Brady in the Super Bowl this year. Did I throw that in there? It's interesting because as much as people love him, we also love to see new rivalries be born. We also love to see new young quarterbacks on the rise, and that's taking nothing from Brady. I
Mm-hmm.
just think we get a different picture in the AFC this year, as well as the NFC, where we're watching. Let's talk about the Rams. Let's talk about those adjustments that were made midseason. Let's talk about two of the best defenders in the NFL. Let's
Fact.
talk about Vaughn and Odell, the besties, on the same team. And Cleveland was trying to make it appear as if he was washed up, that he didn't have it, that it wasn't a Baker issue. So I love the fact that the Super Bowl is going to be in Inglewood
Mm-hmm.
at SoFi. The Rams are playing at home. This could be a epic situation. And I'm going to pause right there. We got a new piece in addition to the show joining us. We have our analyst, Mr. Todd. Welcome back.
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
We're pretty good. So Taj will be joining the show periodically to give us Twitter updates, to update us on what's going on in the Twitter sphere. So, what's going on Twitter right now?
Mainly, really just team interest. Who's looking to get Ben Simmons? Who's looking to move what player where? They've been talking about John Wall and stuff all year long. So things like that. Trade interest.
Okay. What about in football? I saw that Sean Payton and Jerry Jones seem to be topic of conversations with hashtags.
Sean
Can you
Payton.
shed a little light on that?
Sean Payton has decided that he's going to be stepping away from the Saints because I guess he feels
I'm not sure I understand.
to do what they need to do next year. So yeah, Sean Payton, he's on the way out the door. What else we got? That's
so
really
the conversation about him coming to Dallas and Jerry Jones. Like allegedly, I saw that there was possibly like they were on lunch. I don't know. I use that keyword allegedly for the tea that I saw. What does Sean like? Steven said a few weeks ago that the Cowboys were solid with Mike McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
So, do we think that Sean Payton has an opportunity to possibly come to Dallas as a new head coach?
I think there's a 0% chance that he will be a Dallas Cowboy head coach because he said himself he doesn't look to be coaching football in this upcoming year, anyways. And I don't think he's gonna renege on that statement to go to the Dallas Cowboys.
I just don't think the Cowboys is the situation he wants right now. He's stepping away from football. He's stepping away from football. So I think Cowboy fans don't. They didn't win the Super Bowl, so they need to change. And he's free, great coach. In their mind, they thinking, why not? The Cowboys, y'all know how the Cowboys are. They didn't win the Super Bowl. It's the coach fault, all right? It's Dak fault.
It's definitely the coach's fault. So also, you said the trade rumors with Ben Simmons. I saw that Lakers Nets. What's going on with that?
Lakers Nets to get Ben Simmons?
No, Lakers in the Nets game. They were trending.
Just LeBron going to go get 30 on the Brooklyn Nets. That's the main thing that's looking at that.
Anthony Davis came back tonight. Hopefully he can stay healthy.
So Anthony Davis is back. LeBron goes and get 30. Do you think the Lakers are making the shift towards being a playoff contender team at this point now?
I mean, any addition to Anthony Davis you're gonna be looking to get positive and win more games. But if they're not doing what they're supposed to do defensively, they're not gonna be able to get any higher than what they're at right now, which is 500.
Facts, because you got to be able to play defense.
So how many games do they need to win at this point to be back in for us to be talking Lakers playoff conversation after the All-Star break?
I don't think the Lakers will ever be out of playoff competition just because LeBron's playing so well, and they also have Anthony Davis. So as long as they're in the play-in margin, there people are always going to say they got a chance to do this, and that before they go out there and do it.
The rest of their team got to come to play. Everybody else, Anthony Davis, everybody outside of LeBron James got to come to play. They're not giving their best foot forward, not knocking nothing Russ is doing, but, Anthony Davis is truly the problem right now, I feel, for the Los Angeles Lakers. And the others have to do their job. They gotta hit shots when the ball is kicked to them. Right? But Anthony Davis needs to lead the team to take. LeBron James is in his 19th year. He shouldn't have to have the workload shouldn't be so much on LeBron. So the Lakers right now just need everybody to bring their A game.
So what about this conversation with the buyout with Westbrook? The John Wall Westbrook conversation with trade?
That's what I was going to say. If you're talking about things trending on the Lakers, the most thing that usually trends on the Lakers is Russell Westbrook playing bad because he's been hitting the top of the backboard on some games, and a lot of other games just too many turnovers. So they're looking into the John Wall thing just because John Wall has been, he's a viable point guard. He's been sitting out this whole year, working out, whatever. And Russell Westbrook has been playing that bad to where you might have to look into other options going forward. So that swap, I mean, it's just going to be the way the cookie crumbles by the time the trade deadline comes by. But I mean, they're just trying to look for any viable option they can replace for Westbrook if that is an option.
If John Wall is not able to hit shots for the Lakers,
what difference does it make?
Huh?
What difference does it make? It's the same trade.
Yeah.
If Westbrook isn't scoring, John Wall, we know, tends to be inconsistent when it comes to scoring, right? Not knocking him. We know he's a distributor. We know that he can command and run an offense. But what the Lakers needs is point contributors. What good does John Wall do me if Russell Westbrook is doing the same thing?
I mean, he's not going to take as many shots. He definitely not jacking up shots.
So we thinking it's just lowering the shooting percentage of the number of shots that he's going to take.
Care of the ball more. Russell Westbrook might be probably last or bottom tier in assist to turnover ratio. So if you want your point guard to at least be able to take care of the ball, and I think that's what they're going to be looking. If that wasn't actually some truth in that would be where it would come from to get John Wall, somebody that can take care of the ball and take the pressure off LeBron and, not turn the ball over to lead to points on the other end.
My only question would be for John Wall is, can you come off the bench? Because what the Lakers need is for when LeBron needs to sit down for 2 minutes, can the offense still flow smoothly? And I'll say John Wall may be better with making the offense flow smoothly than Russell Westbrook, but they're both ball dominant point guards, right? But shot selection would be a lot different, right? Shot selection would be a whole lot different.
Okay, so we're talking shot selection at this point.
Russell Westbrook is turnovers and shot selection.
Okay, and what does it do? Taj, what does it do with the Lakers beating up on Brooklyn tonight? Is this any indication of what we could see in the playoffs, or is this just LeBron having a great night because he's LeBron and AD's back?
Come playoff time, you're still going to have to match up with the Lakers. As bad as they're playing right now, they still have LeBron and Anthony Davis, and you're going to have your group of guys that can match up with them. So there will be a problem just with that 1-2 punch regardless. It's just like Mr. Shaw said, the supporting cast was going to be if they're going to be able to be that team that people want them to be, or just the same team that we've seen all season, which is a 500 basketball team.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know where Candy Kaylin with, but we're going to keep the show rolling. I truly believe
I'm not lost. You can't see me?
No, I can't see. It's just me and Todd. I like, okay, you back now. I don't know what happened.
I'm trying to produce the show, Mr. Shaw. I'm trying to give us solo screen time
I wanted to make sure
so that when the videos get cut, there's some solo screen time.
I got you. I was just ready to keep the show rolling. If you fell off, we weren't gonna have no drop off. So
Okay, you were ready. So before you get out of here, Taj, AFC Championship, Bengals, Chiefs. Who do you have?
Chiefs.
Okay. NFC, Rams or Niners?
I have the Rams winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, do you have money on it?
Not yet, but we're gonna.
You putting money on it?
I have to make some shake later on Prize Picks or something. You know what I'm
So,
saying?
Mr. Shaw, are you agreeing? So, if I were to go put money down, right? Just say for this weekend, if I were to say, hey, put some money on the Rams, Mr. Shaw, do you think that's a good gambling decision?
I think it's I don't think it's a bad decision for sure. I don't think it's a bad decision. I don't think the 49ers defense is going to be just no scrubs, though. I want everybody to make sure they come with it. I want everybody to be understanding that. Like, the 49ers, because their defense has played hella football.
Exactly. And we were always taught that defense wins championships. Can the 49ers beat the Rams if the offense doesn't produce at all?
That is a question. Like, that's hard to answer. Because it's not. Because the Rams offense can produce. So if the 49ers offense can't produce, it's gonna definitely be a blowout with no question.
It's gonna be it's gonna be a clock management game because the 49ers are always year by year gonna have backs that can run the football and keep the ball on their side. So where Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have to be having a shootout with another quarterback.
It looks like they're never going to let that happen because they know what his weaknesses are right now as a quarterback. So I definitely agree with you. I wish I was a gambler and I could say 5,000 on the Rams, but I ain't got it in me. So, Taj, we thank you for stopping by, joining the show. We look forward to you joining us next week with your Twitter updates.
Yes, ma'am.
See you next week. So, Mr. Shaw, we got a few more things to cover, right? Because this time goes so fast. But we must talk about, and it was one of those things that I saw after I'd already got the notes up for the show. Big Papi went into the Hall of Fame. Big Papi is going into the Hall of Fame. For those that you don't know, David Ortiz of the Red Sox, aka Big Papi. He is now a commentator. He got in. But Barry didn't.
Roger
on his
Clemens
final year of eligibility. Roger Clemens didn't either.
And it was one other name. Fell short. Kurt Schilling, maybe? Nah.
Let's see. I can get you the exact names, but the reason that I wanted to even bring this conversation up is salute and congratulations to Big Papi. Is definitely well deserved, but I feel like this Barry Bonds snub is just like this Pete Rose snub that has been taking place forever.
Hmm.
Forever. And for me and baseball, America's pastime, I can't dance with baseball just because it's great when the home runs were slamming. When the home runs were being hit, Barry Bonds was the guy. Sammy Sosa was the guy. Canseco was the guy. But when the report of drugs comes up, or Pete Rose and gambling, and, you know, the Raiders are now in Vegas, you know, I just have some real questions about the ability to pick and choose who's bad behavior. I mean, A-Rod's a Hall of Famer. Didn't he have some trouble too?
No. This was his first year to go in. He didn't get in.
So, but he's going to go. Or do you think he's going to get a snub too? And then if you're snubbing your legends, what does the Hall of Fame really mean at this point? What does the baseball, I mean, serious question. If the greats are really not going into the Hall and being enshrined and being honored and being put out in front of these stadiums, what does it mean?
First of all, the one thing you said that made baseball so great at the time it was great was the home runs. Not that baseball isn't great right now. Not that we don't love baseball right now. There was a point where every day we was watching to see how many home runs did Mark McGwire hit one, did Barry Bonds did Sam. It was a race to see who hit run. Now it's just like, hey, home run. The home run derby was fun then.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the juicing for me, because it's not a contact sport unless you're going to home plate. I don't really feel like it gave too much of an edge. It made the game more exciting. So
right. So
and to say we're not going to let you in, I just don't feel like they had an advantage. Barry Bonds was big time with or without the steroids.
And these guys without the steroids were going to be Hall of Famers anyway.
Facts.
And David Ortiz, Big Papi, also had steroid accusations of testing positive for performance enhancer drugs. The other person was, as you said, A-Rod didn't make the ballot, didn't go in. Neither did Sammy Sosa, Roger Clemens.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Rollins didn't get enough votes, for those who remember Jimmy Rollins, who was a shortstop for the Phillies. Black shortstop for the Phillies. So I think that's my issue with baseball, and where my level of, in the words of my dad, and we try not to cuss on here anymore, in honor of him and his birthday, I just feel like it's a bunch of
poppycock.
Period. And don't tell me these are legends of the game, and not enshrine them. Don't tell me that they're using performance enhancer drugs after they break the record. And during that time, when Bonds and Sosa are chasing records, everybody was watching. When Roger Clemens, when Barry Bonds hits a homer on Roger Clemens, we're watching. We were tuned in to baseball during that era to see if that record was going to be broken.
Every night. We
wanted to know what Barry was going to do. If he was going to catch Hank Aaron. We needed to know. First it was Babe Ruth, and then it was the record of Hank Aaron. Like, there were so many things that made baseball watchable and tolerable at that point because the bats were swinging. Now, don't get me wrong. Let's not forget the Dodgers, the Braves this year, and those Houston Astros have been swinging the bats.
Mm-hmm.
But in 10 years, is Altuve going to have a performance enhancement issue? Are we not going to enshrine Altuve?
What do we find?
Or Judge? The young players now. We know it's going on.
I'll say, what did we find out? Clayton Kershaw's been juicing.
Are we not going to enshrine him? Does that change his level of greatness? He was great before he ever got to the professional level. Was he not one of their biggest picks and
Mitch
most talked
Berry can
about?
never go into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that was his final chance. And that's why I said this is they will praise him. I don't know if you know Andre Leon Talley that died last week. There were trending. He was a part of the fashion world. Used to be on America's Next Top Model. But somebody said that. Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. So someone said or claimed to be his friend, and Russell Simmons' account on Facebook reposted that it's amazing that the world will honor you once you're dead, but they show you no respect while you're alive.
Sound about right.
And so I say that to say that baseball will honor and praise, and these cities. There's nothing you can tell me about Barry Bonds in San Francisco. He is and always will be. What'd you say?
Or Pittsburgh.
Definitely
in
definitely in San Francisco. He will forever be one of the greatest Giants ever. You can erase whatever you think you want to erase from the history books, but when you think about the Giants, you will forever think about Barry Bonds. You will forever think about Derek Jeter when we talk Yankees.
Say that.
Okay?
It's certain names.
A-Rod when we talk Yankees. Or how he screwed the Rangers and beat them for millions. But that's neither here nor there. We think A-Rod, we think Yankees. We think one of the greatest Yankees to ever play the game in our era. Definitely.
I think young A-Rod. I think Mariners.
The Mariners as well, right? But we're real baseball people. The long stretch of his career was played where?
New York.
He was a Yankee. So, he
was Mr. October 1 year. 1 year.
It's just one of those situations that for me, don't mourn them when they're gone. Don't salute them once they're no longer, they're no longer here. Mm-hmm. Let's not have that conversation. When we think Cincinnati Reds, and I know for me, when I was watching highlights growing up and when I played catcher, Pete Rose was that guy. Pete Rose, and when I talk Reds, I think junior, of course, and senior, and their time together. But I think we're talking Pete Rose. When you talk about the great catchers, we talk about Pudge. We are natives of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We watched Ivan Rodriguez from the time that he was 19 years old. So for me, it's just really hard to have a level of respect for baseball when you have a Hall of Fame that doesn't include the legends. It doesn't include the legends. Guys, I don't know what happened to Mr. Shaw. I think he thinks the show is over. Oh, I think he's joining me back. I was like, Mr. Shaw thinks the show is over. We still have 2 minutes.
No. I was, cousin was calling me before the show started. Got news that one of my friend's mothers passed away. So.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
Oh gosh, there's always so much going on, guys. As we wrap up this baseball talk, always remember in the world, let's keep each other lifted. The world is a crazy place, and as I said, let's learn to love those around us and show them. Let's give them their flowers while they're alive. Let's not wait till they're dead to enshrine them and run reports day in and day out about their level of greatness as we embark on another year, remembering Kobe Bryant here later on in a few days. Oh God, it makes me sad to even talk about it. Let's shower even our athletes because they sacrifice their bodies, they sacrifice their families, and no, they're not perfect. But NFL, the MLB, the NBA, when scandals taking place long before it ever starts. So don't hide your hands and play like you didn't know until it's time to enshrine them in the Hall of Fame. Mr. Shaw, that's all I got for the sports segment. Guys, hold tight. We're going to run a commercial break. We will be right back. This is your girl, Candy K. Lynn.
And your boy, Shaw.
And this is Pull Up the Podcast.